Okay, it looks like we're live once again. Welcome to the second edition of Lead, Thrive, Revive, Life Beyond Burnout. Today we are talking about peeling back the layers. My name is Leigh Felton, and I'm an executive coach and strategic consultant. I also have a
Okay,
YouTube
it looks like
channel.
we're live once again. Welcome to the
Is
second.
anybody else hearing the echo?
Okay, there it is.
Oh, that was you. Okay, I
Yes.
was like, what am I hearing? I hear myself in my ears. Um,
My
but
bad.
no worries, no worries. One of the things that I will always say, whether it's in a corporate meeting, whether it's in an event, whether it is on a podcast, life happens. There is no such thing as perfection. We are real people.
That is true.
So let's just flow with it. So no worries. So I'm Leigh Felton, and if you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, it's Leigh's Lighthouse, about authentic leadership. I'm also joined with my partner in crime here,
Hey.
Dr. Diane. She is a Harvard trained organizational psychologist and burnout specialist. And so that is what we're here to talk about today. Specifically, Dr. Diane, if you remember from our last conversation,
That's right.
we were discussing that the root cause of burnout comes from suppressing your authenticity. So why don't you give us
Yeah,
just a quick review
for
of
sure.
that, so we can go into now what did that conversation lead to?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's really great to see you, Lee, and hi to everybody out there. Well, last time we talked about offering a different kind of perspective on burnout. Usually these days, all the talk on burnout today's this month is Mental Health Awareness Month. So there's a lot of discussion going on out there online and elsewhere. Usually when you hear about burnout, there's an emphasis on often on the physical symptoms of it, right? The exhaustion, the fatigue, or sometimes they'll emphasize, kind of the emotional component of feeling lack of motivation or engagement with one's work. And so, you hear a lot, well, self-care, let's do self-care. And I love
Right.
bubble baths. I love going to the spa. I love all of that. But the thing that is unsatisfying about that is that it doesn't get to the root of burnout. And so what we've been talking about in our last session was that the root of burnout is actually the suppression of one's authenticity, the suppression of our emotions, the suppressions of our genuine sense of self. And so, if that is the root of burnout, then what we got into last conversation was, well, one of the ways that you could get to the root of transforming burnout is to tap into your deeper sense of purpose and meaning. And then Lee says, well, how do you do that? Here I am. I'm trying to figure it out. We all are, right? And so
Right.
that's what I think we were going to talk about today
Mhm.
is what is the connection between burnout, suppressing your authenticity, and tapping into a deeper sense of purpose and meaning. So I think
And
that's what we
yeah,
what
no,
we were
that was
talking
no, it was a perfect summary. And you said it right. I mean, I feel at this stage in life that I feel very comfortable being authentically me. And as you and I were discussing recently, I've gone through a difficult time this month. So I had surgery, and I'm a very independent, self-sufficient person, and I've had to heavily rely on other people, and it has just caused me to be just, I mean, in addition to the pain, but it's just caused me to really be down, and having to pull myself up. And then in addition to that, there's so much stuff happening in society that shocks me, that literally shocks me and hurts my heart,
for sure.
that it seems that we're moving backwards in time, and all people aren't being appreciated, respected. They're not being seen, and their lives actually don't matter, some people, compared to others. And so that has been heavy in my heart too. So when I think about finding purpose and finding
Mm,
meaning,
mm.
even though I feel very authentic, I don't understand what you mean by that.
Yes. Well, let's talk about it. Let's peel back the layers, as we said we would, right? And so, you had said to in the last conversation and alluded to, before we got on live today, was that, I've got to this point in my life, in my career, and I'm comfortable with being who I am, but I wouldn't say that I know exactly what my ultimate deepest purpose and meaning is, right? And so I wanted to take a look at that for a moment because uh, when you frame it that way, it makes it sound as though there is only one answer to that, and it's a fixed
Mhm.
answer,
Okay.
right? And so, I could just think of myself as an example. Uh, whenever I get into that mode of thinking that, what is my deepest purpose? There's got to be one answer to that. What ends up happening to me is that I start to get stressed out about making the wrong choice, right? And saying, oh, what if I don't exactly get what my purpose is? What if I, make the wrong choice around that? And so, what I wanted to, I guess, first unpack was that sense of deeper purpose and meaning is not a one and done. You've got the answer. It's a fixed answer. I think of the title of Michelle Obama's book, Becoming. Right.
Okay.
It's alluding to an ongoing process of tapping into who we are authentically,
Mm.
trusting that, and uh, following where that leads us. Okay, so uh, with regard to what you were saying just now about, hey, I'm recovering from surgery, and I've been feeling really down because I have this feeling of I need to be independent, and so the question there is, where is that definition of I must be independent in order to be authentically who I am?
Mm.
Where does that come from? Right? Because so much of our journey of becoming and figuring out that sense of deeper purpose and meaning is tuning into uh, that sense of ourselves that's not defined by our culture or by uh, others or by white supremacy culture
Oh
or
gosh.
by heterocentric culture,
Politics.
politics, etc. Right? So so let me stop there and just see what you think about what I'm saying so far.
I find it intriguing. I never thought about purpose and meaning as a multi-layered, um, evolving thing. I think, whenever I've heard in the past people discussing, what is your true purpose? What is your meaning? That, we have this purpose and drive. I want to, save the world. I want to, feed all the hungry. Um, I want to make sure everybody gets an education. It's like, that there's something deep in our hearts that drive us to feel like this is why I'm here. This is why I was born. And for me, I think I've talked about it very publicly. So I am neurodiverse, and it was funny because I was rewatching our I do a lot of these kind of series, and I was rewatching our last one as I'm looking to you. I close my eyes or I'm looking to the side, and I just watched that and I saw, wow, so many people could interpret that as Lee's not even paying attention to Dr. Diane,
Mhm.
wherein it's actually the exact opposite. I want to truly hear you. And because there's so many visual things going on around me, I close my eyes and I'm focusing. And I've done this in corporate as well. So in corporate meetings, I'm closing my eyes or I'm shaking. And that is how I'm listening and pulling in exactly what you're saying. So for somebody that is neurodivergent, and I have generalized anxiety disorder, I care. I'm at a stage where it's like, I went through my career. That was my focus for so many years. I was a workaholic. The only thing that mattered was, where am I going? How am I getting this done? Is it perfect? Is everything around me perfect? Am I driving and am I making a difference to my team, to my business, to my company? And my purpose was to be successful because I had come from such poverty. My purpose was financial and to be successful. And then so much has changed in my life that my heart and everything that I went through in corporate as a neurodiverse, Black, non-visible disability, queer female, I just see the pain of so many people who are coming up, and it's like, I don't want them to
Mhm.
have to go through that same pain that
Correct.
I went through for all of those years. And so I think, maybe that's my purpose, that I'm supposed to do something to help people,
Okay.
not have to feel that pain. But you're saying that there isn't just one purpose. That
Well,
there isn't just one purpose.
yeah, let's unpack what you just said because it's so
Okay.
important, right? On your journey of learning to love yourself, learning to be authentically who you are, there was a process in there where you had to tune into who you really were and see how that was the same or different as the external definitions of who you needed to be as an executive, right? So, as a neurodivergent, Black, queer person, uh, you were surrounded by all of these definitions of what it meant to be successful. And in your own journey of becoming more authentic, you stopped adhering solely to those external standards and freed up all this energy that you were using to instead of being naturally who you are, trying to play this character that you think you need to be in order to be successful. Now, how does this connect to burnout? Is when you're playing a character and you're not tuning into who you authentically are and embodying that, you're spending a whole bunch of energy spinning around in this character rather than moving forward in your life. And so I suspect that as you started to love yourself and become more authentically who you were, and stop putting energy into playing that character, you had a lot more energy to apply to the actual substance of the work and bringing your special gifts to your leadership, right? And so that's how I think what's the connection between uh, being authentically who you are, not burning out, and then also finding a sense of deeper purpose. Because as you become more in touch with that authentic part of you, if it's not just a one fixed answer of what your deeper purpose is, you've actually been living the answer to what is your purpose every day, if that makes any sense. So instead of thinking of our purpose as just some kind of conceptual answer or statement about my purpose is X, right? Is like, oh, am I living my life outside consistent with my sense of my inner authentic self inside? And when you're not aligned, that's when you burn out,
Mm.
right? When you're not aligned, that's when you burn out. And the answer to what is my purpose is how you live every day. So
How so? I mean,
yes,
sincerely appreciate it. I'm going to get off the therapy couch because I know that there's so many listeners out there that it's not just about Leigh's problems, but how does this apply to me directly?
sure,
How do we move from that generic? Because that sounds, I love you, but to
please
say,
give it.
just, your purpose is just how you're living every day. That that doesn't sound fulfilling to me. That doesn't, it's like, gosh, purpose is supposed to be this just amazing thing that just touches you, and it resonates with you, and you say, yes, that is my purpose. And just say your purpose is what you're living every day, and that's what got
Mm,
you here. It's like, that
what you
just
mean.
feels like, wait a minute,
Yeah,
no.
yeah. I can count on you to ask me straight, right? So let me refine my answer, because how you said it definitely doesn't feel satisfying, right? It's not just how I live every day, but what I mean is that our answer to that question, right? So every our answer to what is our purpose is, if you wake up in the morning and you are trying your best to connect to who am I authentically today, and I'm going to be that person today, and I'm going to live from that authentic place today,
Mm.
then that begins to uncover the layers of that kind of passionate answer that you're searching for. If you are not doing that, if you're waking up every day and you're playing the character that you think you need to be in order to be successful, you're moving farther away from that the aha answer that you're asking for, if that makes sense.
I,
We
I
can keep,
think
We
No,
can keep
no,
turning this around and
this is
around. Yeah.
about peeling. This is about peeling. And so
Yes.
that first layer, what I hear you saying is recognizing that many individuals, many people, and I did it for years and years and years, are playing this character.
Hmm.
And that character becomes so natural to you
Hmm.
that the very first layer is recognizing when,
That's
when
it.
you feel you're playing this character. And
That's it.
sometimes you may really feel like you have to play that character and there's no other way around it. So, but taking that moment to say, what is, who am I today? Who am I representing? If I'm representing that character for this amount of time, then I have to do that. But who am I? Let me just take a moment to appreciate and understand that for myself before I move
Hmm.
on to be a character or move on to even be that person that I said is the authentic me.
Yes. So if we're peeling back the layers, right? If you want to jump from, I don't know what my purpose in life is, to immediately jump to, my purpose in life is this deep, passionate thing, that's too far of a jump. What I'm asking you to first recognize is the extent to which you are playing a character who is not actually who you really are. Most of us are in autopilot all the time. We're being defined by our culture. We're being defined by our families. We're being defined by all these things external. We, we haven't even admitted to ourselves yet, right? That I'm not, uh, uh, I'm playing this other character that's not who I really am. Because you can't get to the question of who am I really unless you first acknowledge that. So that's where the peeling of the layers comes in, right? And so does that start to resonate a little?
That's more satisfying. And
Yeah.
I think that a lot of what people are looking for are those tools.
Mm-hmm.
And it and I always hate to reduce such complex, significant, you know, processes to a set of tools. But, a lot of times that's what it comes down to. It's not necessarily that people want the easy way out, but it's like, okay, tell me, what is the
Yes.
template? What is the tool that I can use to say this is ABC? These are the steps that I need to take in order to get there.
Okay.
What would you say about someone that wants this understanding or this visualization of a tool or template to say, what should I do
Yeah.
in order to feel that satisfaction of knowing today's my purpose is, or this is who I am for now, whatever phase or stage you may be in.
Okay. So I'm gonna try two things. Okay. One is, see if you can create on a regular basis, on a daily basis, some routine in your life. And it could be something like that lasts about 3 minutes. So here's an example. So when you're driving to work in your car, right? And you're driving in your car and you get to the office and you unbuckle your seatbelt. See if you can set your timer for 3 minutes at that point, right? And just allow yourself, by listening to a song or just having some quiet, and just ask yourself simply, how am I actually feeling today? Who am I actually today? And really answer that honestly, because no one's listening to you. You're not trying to perform for anybody, right?
Hmm.
Creating those small cocoons of space for yourself to really ask yourself that question. Now, that's again might not seem so satisfying and seem very simplistic, but how many of us actually ask ourselves and answer honestly, how am I doing today and who am I really today? Right? So just getting into the habit of that. Another tool that we can use is that's very, very important is what some people call your body compass. Some people say that your body never lies,
Okay.
right? So one of the ways that we get burnt out is when we're acting in our daily lives not in alignment with what we feel in our deepest gut is the right thing to do for a variety of different reasons. So what the body compass is starting to really tune into how our body is feeling when we're engaged in a particular activity or making a certain decision. And are we acting in accordance with our deepest gut or not? And I think in future sessions, we can get into the body compass a little bit
Okay.
more.
I would like to, because I'm trying to imagine, and I'm just writing that down, the body compass. I'm trying to imagine um, my body. I totally, for for the first step, and it's like it's almost, and I don't know how you quantify that 3 minutes versus someone that does daily meditation, or whether those are one and the same thing. So we'll let you answer. We'll answer that. But that second step in what is your body telling you? How is your body guiding you? What if you truly, I mean, if I just sit here and close my eyes and I say, what is my body telling me right now? I touch my heart, because right now my body is telling me, just with so many things going on in society and a lot of things that happened over the last few days, my body's telling me that my heart hurts. But what is that? That doesn't mean anything to me. It doesn't mean that it's a purpose. It doesn't mean that I can do anything with it. So I would like to unravel what we are talking about with the body compass. But for the 3 minute aspect of that, how does
Mm.
that differentiate, or is it the same as somebody that would do daily meditation?
Well, people have a lot of different tools that serve that same purpose. Some people might call it meditation,
Mm,
right? Some people might call it like just my little uh, cocoon that I create for myself when I can really be authentic and starting out off, with short periods of time. Uh, you could call some people do call it meditation, but I don't want to label it just as
okay.
that, because for some people that doesn't work. Some people use clients that I have use their time that they're walking their dog,
Mm,
right, as the time that they do that. Though, so instead of just tuning out with a podcast or distracting themselves from what they're actually feeling, they can use some daily routine like walking their dog to ask themselves that question. How am I really feeling right now? And really answer it in an authentic way, in an honest
mm.
way. So you can call it meditation if you want, but it doesn't have to be laden with a lot of preconceptions about what that word means.
Okay,
It's just
I totally understand that, and appreciate that additional context. So the body compass. I'm not a mental body doctor. So how do I interpret the things that my body might be telling me?
okay. So usually the way that people guide you through this goes like this. So imagine right now, Lee, if you can imagine a time in your life, in your work, where you felt like you were on it. You were at your
Mm,
peak. You were at your peak creativity. You were doing the work with a sense of flow and connection. Can you think of an example like that?
absolutely.
Okay. So right now, when you recall all of that, try to recall that memory of that situation with as many of your five senses as you can,
Okay.
right? Like, where were you? What colors were around? Who were you with? What did it feel like? Were there any smells,
Mhm.
etc.? Right? So just try to conjure it up in your mind
Okay.
with as many senses as you can.
And if we can pause, because I would love for people who are listening to do the same thing on their end.
Yes, please.
I think that would be helpful. So I'm going to do
And
that,
do it
and then
along with us.
you can walk us through. I'll be I'll be your patient, but you can walk us through this experience and what we're supposed to do once we get there. Okay, so
Sounds good. So,
I'm closing my eyes and I'm
so
taking myself to that moment.
yeah, so you can leave your eyes open
Oh,
or close them. It's up to you, whatever makes you feel safe. But recall that situation again when you were really in your peak flow of the work that you feel gives you joy and is your passion, and
mhm,
just try to conjure up with all of your senses where you were and what you were doing.
okay.
So now I want you to just see if you can check in your body. Is there any part of your body where you can feel that, where that memory is like registering in your body?
And
Can you tell
my
me?
fingers and my arms and in my fingers.
And your fingers and your arms, okay.
Yeah,
So just noting that. Any other place?
in my smile.
In your smile, right? In your
Yes.
face.
Yes.
So so this is a clue, right? So whenever you are engaged in an activity in your daily life where you can feel those things, that's an indication. Yes, move in that direction. That's your
Okay.
body compass telling you that, right? So when you're moving in your life, your compass is telling you go north, go east. This is your true north. What you're
Ah,
doing here, right? So anything that you're doing during the course of your day, like for example, if you get that feeling in our conversation today, or if you're having a meeting later on and you get that same feeling and it's registering in the same place in your body, that's a good clue that
mm,
keep moving in that direction, right? And you can do the opposite as well. So shall we try to do the opposite for right
no,
now? Okay.
no,
No?
no,
Okay.
definitely,
So the clue,
no.
but the clues, it's okay.
Okay.
We don't have to do it now. But the clue, you can kind of infer it, right? Is that if you can think of an opposite situation and try to register in your body where you're feeling that memory,
Hmm.
that is the compass that's telling you the opposite of the direction you need to go in, right? And
Right.
so if the body doesn't lie, then that becomes this um, minding that compass all throughout your day starts to give you clues about the kinds of activities that you're doing that give you the first feeling rather than the second feeling,
Interesting.
right?
And
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 so,
and it's important because though the true north, I mean, I just remember that feeling and that flow and that energy and that just amazing, I'm an energy person, so I believe that people can project positive and negative energy, and just the amount of amazing energy that was surfacing all around me was just significant. Now,
it
I'm one
is.
of those people, I'm somewhat of an avoider. So
Mhm.
things that have heavily hurt me, that have crushed my spirits, or especially as I think about, not just personal life, but even in corporate. It's like, you could imagine being an executive, black, female in these, corporate environments can be pretty tough. And there
Mm.
are some memories that, and the reason I don't want to go there is because I don't want to tap into that
Yeah, I hear that.
significant, sad, hurt emotion.
Hmm.
What if I'm an avoider, or others are a avoider like myself, and it's like, I really don't want to go there. How important would you say it is to establish that opposite of that true north point?
Well, I think, use your common sense in that we're not trying to re-traumatize yourself, because like what the experiences you're describing can be traumatizing, right? But you can, even if you just touch into it briefly, because here's a possible thing for you to consider, that the amount of energy that you're using to avoid tuning into that is a lot of energy. It's sort of like when you have a compass, right, or a magnet, when you try to pull the compass away from north, or you try to put magnets with opposing poles to get, poles that are repelling each other. It takes a lot of energy to put those together, right? So all the energy that we're spending uh, avoiding that, what I want to invite us to explore perhaps in the
Okay.
next session
Okay.
is how we can work with those experiences, because when we free up that energy, uh, we are not burning down our battery as much, if that makes sense, right? And
It
so,
makes a lot of sense.
so I think one of the headlines for me about the connection of burnout and authenticity and purpose is when everything is in alignment, right? Our energy is being used very, very efficiently.
Hmm.
When we are not in alignment with that sense of inner purpose and we're playing a character, we're wasting a lot of energy instead of propelling ourselves forward. And we're wasting a lot of energy as well, avoiding those difficult parts of ourselves that might allow us to move more confidently forward, if that makes sense.
And
And maybe
that
we should talk about that next time.
I definitely think that, as I think about for a lot of people, truly getting to that place of authenticity, knowing what your body is telling you, knowing, how, not just how I'm feeling, happy, sad, whatever, but actually the signals that I'm getting in my body are are indicators of something specific. I think a deeper dive into that will be fascinating, and who
Yeah.
knows, maybe even I can relive some of that trauma myself in the next session. But with that, Dr. Diane, just this is awesome as always. I
Thank you for
absolutely
being real. I appreciate that. I think that's what we need to get to. And so thank you for never holding back on that.
it took me 50 years, right?
Right?
So
Here we are.
yeah. So, everyone, this is Lead, Thrive, Revive, Life Beyond Burnout. Lee Felton, Dr. Diane. We're here every other week, so you'll catch us bi-weekly in this series, and we hope that you will engage in the next session as we continue to go down that path of bringing and being your authentic self, your authentic leader, to help cope with any burnout that you might have had or might be experiencing yourself. Dr. Diane, thank you so much. This is always fun.
Take good care. Hope your recovery keeps going well.
Thank you. Okay, see everyone next time.
Bye.
Bye.